I'll explain that. I know you love each other very well, much. But it doesn't matter whether it's Peter Silla or Dorothy Silla. The devil will do his best to make sure that even if you pray together, you are not always trying to be on the same level spiritually. Because if you are one spiritually, that's already trouble for him. You are not quarreling, no fight. In spite of that, he will make sure that in terms of the soul, whether the heart, the mind, the emotions, the will, the intellect, the conscience, your disposition, worldview, is not quite one. Because if you are one, trouble again for him. He might not be able to stop the area of being one physically in terms of sex. But he will try his best to and stop the oneness in the other areas, even physically. Oneness in finance, oneness in this, oneness in all that. Why? Because if the two should be one, that's already a unit of the ecclesia that can legislate and nothing can stop it. Do you hear what I just said? Because the minimum number for legislation is 2. Because even for parliament, you have subcommittees. And they come and the whole group, sometimes just agrees and, endorses. Isn't it? Because they say there is a subcommittee on finance. There is a subcommittee on this. Because they are experts. Are we together? All right. So, Jesus says here, it's 2 or 3 that are supposed to be the quorum. And since the minimum for the quorum is 2, no wonder he doesn't like marriage. Have you noticed as things get closer and closer to really dealing with the enemy, end time revival, more and more divorces? Because he knows. I'm about to touch another one now. That's why, because of labels. The one is Glorious Assembly now. It used to be Glorious Church. It used to be Glorious Church, but it is now Glorious Assembly. And now somebody, Gospel Outreach Assembly, which used to be a Gospel Outreach Church. Because of these labels, you are not able to be one. Because he knows if we all come together, if one can put 1,000 to flight, 2 will put 10,000 to flight. So 2 of us will be minimum at least 5 times more effective than we would have been otherwise. Do you see it? And that's why he is fighting everything. Even when you start meeting to pray together, after some point, he said, this one is trying to show that he is the one who must be the head always. And then, let's go. After all, we were friends before he came. And then start scattering. One of the words I haven't talked about yet that has to do with ecclesia, that is linked in with ecclesia under Gemeinde, is koinonia. Koinonia is the one that you find in Philippians chapter 2 verses 1 to 3, and that is where he said, if there be any consolation in Christ, if there be any, and then he finally says, be of one mind, one persuasion, one focus, one purpose, one spirit, one. Because once you're one, that's it, you finish the enemy. Jesus is praying his final prayer before going, that they may be one. What makes God God? Because he is one. Even as I and the Father are one. That the world will know that you have sent me when they are one. Good place again to break. Oh, Lord have mercy. I hope you understand what is there. And by the time, if there is any other session, if we haven't finished, if there is any other session, by the time we come, I think it's a good time to now pray. We can continue from here the next time. So that we do not make the mistake of thinking, oh, once I've heard it's okay. We can at least begin the process of prayer here. And then when we go back to our rooms, when we have closed our doors, when we are alone with the Father, then we can begin to practice what we just learned. Where now it is me and my Father. Let's get some things clear. Because other than that, whatever, somebody said the other day, why don't you share with them how many presidents you're helping? I said, and what has that got to do with, the price of fish? So, okay, you didn't get that. Because many times, we get validation, from, how many people you have led to Christ. It is not your position in Christ. I don't know if you're getting my point. Or I have 50,000 people in my church. Wrong. If it is your own property, your restaurant, what has that? It's probably zero in heaven.